And we're on. Okay, cool. So Alicia and I are going to honor the 30-minute time. This Alicia wasn't here last time. We went over 19 minutes. I'm really sorry. Doug says hi. That's cool. Hi, Doug. Okay, so Juliet is a brand new aunt. Wyatt Williams was just born. Wyatt. How do you say the middle name, Portia? Wyatt.
She just told me Wyatt. Is it
Wyatt?
Xander?
It's like Wyatt Xander.
Xander or something like that?
Xavier.
Xavier.
Yeah. Cool. So she is hopefully able to see him because she's a little sick and the hospital's being super strict about the flu. So
no, she's going in there. She's going in there.
I said to her, they haven't met Juliet.
She's gonna look a hot mess and like gray hairs and all, and like she's going in.
Yeah, get it. I don't blame it. You're there. Go see the baby. Okay, so she won't be here. So let's take a poll first before we get started. For those of you that were on the surge call last night, who is interested in the coach springboard group? Pam, Portia, Amanda, Lauren's not sure. Or she can't. One of the two. Okay. Or she's deep into a saucy text message. Okay.
No, sorry. I pulled up my pictures from last week.
Yeah, I was like, I bet she's looking to see which group you're talking about. It was a new coach Launchpad.
Springboard, Launchpad, same thing. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot. So I appreciate the fact that you've already got pictures on your phone. That's amazing.
Yeah. I screenshotted it while you were talking.
You're very smart. It took me a week. I still can't say what the name of the group is called. It was, for a time, it was called Coach Training Wheels. And I was like, I really like that, but like some people might not like to be called Training Wheels. So we decided to change it to Launchpad. Although like I still feel like I'm a baby coach at sometimes. Okay, so if you're interested in that group, Alicia and I felt like it was important to say this group, because I don't think any of you have been in a group before. This group has been very like loosey-goosey. Like if you can make it, great. If you can do your homework, awesome. And because it's been loosey-goosey, what we're seeing, because Alicia and I have done a bazillion push groups and accountability groups, what happens when it's loosey-goosey is everything is sort of loosey-goosey. The homework is kind of like, sometimes you get to it, sometimes you don't. And the results are like, some coaches are moving to Emerald, some coaches are not. Some coaches hit Success Club, some coaches don't. When we've done groups in the past where it's a little bit more structured, where it's like, okay, we're going to have these 6 calls. You've got to be on 4 out of the 6 calls. The homework is mandatory. If you're not able to do it, you're out of the group. And not in a mean way. Like if something is going on in your life, talk to your coach about it. But when we have more structured groups, guess what? We get more results. Coaches get more results. Jennifer was in the last push group we did. Hi, Jennifer. And I think Jennifer, at the very end of the year, the November, December, or October, November push group, there were maybe 9 coaches in there, and it was super, super stringent. Like there were 5 things that we had to do. We had to check in. There was a ton of accountability, and all 9 of those coaches rank advanced. It was awesome. It was really cool. And when you're in a group like that, it truly is like a mastermind. So this group has been loosey-goosey on purpose. But we just want to let you guys know, since you're in this group right now, that going forward, the group that we're going to do for the Launchpad is definitely going to be tighter, if that makes sense. Because we want you to get results, and we want new coaches at least having their Shakeology paid for. Period. That's the goal. Like your Shakeology should be paid for your first or second month as a coach. And then after that, you should be out of the red and you should be making money, even if it's just enough to pay your gas bill to run your propane fireplace, right? Like something. That's what we want. We want coaches making money. We want coaches feeling like this is valuable. We want coaches feeling like they have a purpose. So I just wanted to throw that out there just to be really clear on expectations. You got anything, Alicia?
Nope.
Cool.
Well
Okay.
said. All good.
All right. So last week we covered a couple of things. Did anyone get a chance to use this? You're not in trouble if you didn't. Look at Amanda. I used it too. I freaking love it. Who's got theirs? Okay. So tomorrow's Thursday and it starts on Thursday, which I love. So if you didn't get a chance to do it this week, definitely do it tomorrow. And next week is our last call. We'll be going over it. And then in the Coach Launchpad group, like we're going to be heavy into this because I'm even noticing trends about myself. Like, and just so you all know, Alicia, Juliet, and myself, like we're in it to win it too. Like we're doing the work with you. We're not sitting here saying like, you guys have to do X, Y, and Z. Like these groups move our business just as it moves yours. And that feels good to do it together. So I'm noticing like, does anybody have an area where there's no box checked at all? Like one category where there's no box checked? Amanda, do you have more than one? It's okay.
I might have a couple.
So that's a really good indication. That's like a fire alarm going off to be like, we need some attention here. And I do not do a good job responding to likes or views on my Instagram stories. I'm noticing because this tracker is showing me that. And I know that's missed opportunities, especially in Instagram stories. I'm commenting back to everyone in Facebook, and there is a strategy to it. I don't necessarily do it on the same day. Sometimes I'll wait and start commenting back even 3 days later. And I think Amanda Musser just did this. Like I had commented on something and I got a notification. I'm like, that was like days ago. But that's very smart on her part because what she's doing by commenting 3 or 4 days later is she's bumping that post again. And it's always good to do it like around 7:30 at night because all of a sudden you've got people trolling the scroll and like you'll see it'll say like Tracy Baldorak commented. Tracy Baldorak and Alicia Dupree commented on, Pam Pritchard's post, and the post was from like February 16th. So that's what happens when you're going back and replying. So I don't really necessarily like comments. I'm good, but like likes and views, I'm like, oh my gosh, I haven't checked that box at all this whole week. So pay attention to where you're not checking your box. And these are things that we can keep talking about and creating action plan around as we go forward.
I have a question for Amanda, just because you mentioned there were a couple that you weren't checking. I'd go out on a limb to say those are the uncomfortable parts for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and so I think that that's something to pay attention to, is that we gravitate towards the stuff that we are most comfortable with all the time. And you've heard there's been 1,000 fancy images where staying inside your comfort zone does you no good, right, from a growth standpoint. So any thoughts there, or can you share like what those pieces are for you?
For me, I'm still working through the public posts. I have no problem talking to my holding tank and that group of people, but putting myself out there on my Facebook is more of a struggle for me, and I have not created yet my Instagram for this. So that's it's on my list. I've got a list.
Do you have a personal Instagram?
Yeah.
So one of the things that Amy Rada commented on at the New Leader Conference, Amy Rada was or is a top 10 elite coach. This time last year, she was, I think, a 3-star maybe, and she's now a superstar diamond, like had a ridiculous blowout year last year, like 80,000 followers on Instagram or something. And after the whole event was over, we actually sat next to her at a bar, Pam and I, and she's like, hey, what's some feedback? She's like sweet as can be and was like, what's some feedback you guys have? What did you take away? And I have a personal Instagram account and my coach Instagram account. And I have like done away with that. Like now I'm putting everything on my coach account because I was like trying to make it a separate account. So it's all fitness all the time, all Beachbody, but like I wouldn't even want to follow that. And so I'm still going to have my personal account for sure, but like I'm adding so much more of my personal non-Beachbody life to my coach Instagram.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, like I know Portia, you have 2, Tracy, yours is 1. But that might be something to look at is like, do you need a second?
Yeah, it's not even so much creating a second one. It's I don't use it. I use it to follow, but not to have followers. I don't post on there. So
I think just again, pay attention to like to keep that in mind, even with your Facebook habits, right? Like Are you uncomfortable posting at all or just about Beachbody?
At all, pretty much. Yeah, I'm very private person, so it's definitely something I'm working on. I've definitely come out of my shell with it, and people are taking notice of that. But it's a work in progress for sure.
I think posting if you guys go look, Amanda is like a complete recovery story from an accident that she had 2 years ago, earlier this month. And I just think like how brave that was to put that out there and to go into detail about the accident and how you've recovered. And like, girl, if you can post that, like you can post a recipe to a salad. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Oh, but I know, like, it is like what attracts people. I've really been working on trying to be a storyteller. So we talked about this last week. Did anybody go follow Kindra Hall? If you forgot, write her name down, Kindra Hall. And she is the one that came and talked to the 5 stars, and her whole presentation was the power of storytelling. And she is now a keynote speaker for anything from like, corporate America to, what are those bags? It's like another MLM for like organization bags.
31.
Yeah. She spoke to them, and her whole concept is you lure people in telling stories, right? And so this is a great example. So I totally slept through my alarm this morning. I decided just to make like a hot breakfast for the kids. I was like, I miss Miracle Morning. I've missed it all. So I was like, I'm just going to relax and hang out with my kids. I did do my workout, but it wasn't until noon. And I actually went and put like a full face of makeup on. And I went and took a picture of my face, like my eyes. And I did this whole story about how I used to go put makeup on. As soon as I hit campus in 9th grade, I would go straight to the bathroom and put more makeup on. And I talked about the fact that it was like relaxing. It was like a creative outlet. I just loved being able to put makeup on. And if you look, and then I talked about why I put makeup on. Again, it was relaxing. It feels good. And it makes me feel grown up. And I sort of tied it into my like 40-something-year-old self now. And if you look at the post, it was like less than 30 likes and 1 comment. That's it. So like traditionally we would look at that from ourselves and be like, that post sucked, right? But what that post did, especially on Instagram, I have so many conversations going about what kind of mascara do I use? Why do I love makeup too. What do you use? And it's starting all these conversations about like feeling good in my body with people that now are starting to generate into the opportunity for me to be able to invite them. So you look at a post like that and it might look like it sucks, but I've got all these messages going on the back end because there are so many people, and I used to be one of them, that went on Facebook but never ever commented on anything. I would actually message people behind the scenes because I didn't want anyone to know I was a Facebook user. So don't ever judge a post by how many likes it has, because that post that I told a story about me and makeup from the time that I've been able to wear it has generated a ton of opportunity for me to have 24 invitations today to a nutrition-based group because we started talking about wellness. If that makes any sense. Okay, so this week we're talking about inviting to a challenge group or a virtual community. So does everybody have a holding tank? Pam might be. Lauren, do you have a holding tank yet? Not yet? No. Okay, so we'll work on getting holding tanks for you guys. Pam, we've sort of talked about it on Box. They're really easy to set up. It's basically, when we say holding tank, it's your place where you've got past challengers, people who've done freemiums. A lot of coaches run their free groups in their holding tanks. Pam will talk about freemiums on the side next time you and I have a one-on-one. So the key of inviting people to a freemium is because when coaches do a good job with their holding tanks, they're posting something every day. Like Amanda March is using hers right now, sort of like a challenge group. She's posting in it daily. I'm terrible with my holding tank. I used to be good. I'm not so good anymore, unless I'm running a freemium. So when you guys have invited to a holding tank, like spit out what your invite has been to get people into your group.
I would love to hear from Amanda Musser because I've been in hers, or I am in hers actually, and I feel like you do a really good job with yours, Amanda.
Thank you. I have not run any sort of freemiums in my holding tank in a while. I've been doing more of those free 5 days of fitness groups and challenge groups. I got the idea from you. So right now what I'm kind of doing is when it comes to inviting to my wellness group, it's sort of like if someone isn't ready to join a challenge group, I'll just then extend the invite to them and let them know that I have this free community. If they are looking at the very least for some wellness tips and recipes from time to time, feel free to share in there. But because I've had these free 5 days of fitness groups, I've been doing more inviting to that. But that being said, I have another group that I run that's mostly all new moms or expecting moms. And so whenever I'm connecting with a new mom, like that's sort of like the first invite is, hey, congratulations on your baby, or congratulations for expecting. I'm a new mom too. I recently started this Facebook community. It's just a great outlet for advice, for cute baby spam, for, product recommendations. Would you like to join us? And they're usually like, oh yeah, I would totally, I love all the support I can get. Or I've also heard from people, yeah, I'd love to join. I'm in a couple of groups and they're just really huge and spammy and I'm not looking for that. And so it's kind of great for them because I never really post like, here's a Shakeology sale or something in that group. That's more for my holding tank and not for the mom group. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I think that's great. I think you keep it very casual, which I think is why it probably feels like the easiest invite, is because there's nothing you're asking of them in terms of like a transaction, right? Yeah. You're offering value for free. And I think that's important. What's great about that is if you think about the conversations that start, mom group or otherwise, it's like, oh, cool. Like, what would you be looking for in this? I don't know. I really need some. And then they just start giving you some information, right, which you can kind of jot down and then save for later, because they're sharing something about them with you that might actually come in handy down the line for something Beachbody related,
Yeah, for sure.
One of the things just on that is that even as I say that, sometimes it might seem calculated, like you're only doing this so that they can be a potential customer someday. Tracy mentioned this on her call last night. Like, I think we all love what we do, but we wouldn't do it for free to the extent that we're working and all the investment that we're putting into this. And so I think there's a difference between being, I say this all the time, intentional and inauthentic, right? So you can be intentional. Like, I think that you, from what I know about you, could be a great challenger or coach someday. Then you have to authentically connect with them. But it's okay to like identify somebody as a potential customer. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you're phony about the approach, that's when it feels, kind of gross. So, yeah, I mean, like to me, there's not much more complicated than that. Tracy, I don't invite a lot to my holding tank straight off the bat. I probably take the same approach to Amanda, where I'm inviting to other things, either coaching or challenge group, and then afterwards they go in there. Do you invite to your free group right off the bat?
I will if I don't have a challenge group starting for like more than 2 weeks, right? So like we just have had so much pretty much since like October, even when like I didn't promote Shift Shop when it was re-released in October, but I feel like it was just so much hype getting ready for 80-Day Obsession that there was, a little obsessed. So I felt like I had something to invite all the time. The lull sometimes can be like in the summer, right? I remember like when Lift 4 was sort of like 3 weeks until everyone got access to Lift 4. Like I'm not going to be inviting for VIP access to Lift 4 when BOD gets it in 3 weeks. So like a lull like that, I might start inviting people to my virtual community. But if I'm only inviting to my virtual community, I don't do a good job in that community unless I'm running a freemium. So I will always ask to a freemium. So I have all my freemiums for the month already pre-planned. I just got done running one. I alternate. I like to do biblical based things in my freemium like every other month because it just connects me with the type of person that fits a lot of what I'm looking for. Not that everyone I work with is biblical, but people who are just kind of sometimes wanting more, I like to talk to those people who wonder. So that works for me. What also works for me is getting involved in these larger groups. So for instance, Callie is a brand new gymnast, and Portia, you can probably relate to this. And you go into Facebook groups and there's like 25,000 moms that are gymnastics moms, right? And some of those groups are like, whoa, like I do not fit in here at all. They're crazy, some of them. But I will go in and post a question about like, hey, I'm a new gym mom, and I'll post a question and I get like, I'm not kidding you, like 40 to 80 people wanting to give me advice because people love to give advice about what they think they know. And so what that gives me is 80 people to sort of scope out and see if any of them are like my type of people. And I might find some. It's a little time consuming, but I might find some, and then I can start a conversation on the back end, like thanking them for answering my question, asking them more question, having dialogue. Then I can friend request them. Because in the like olden days, 4 years ago, you would just go friend request a bunch of people. And now everyone is very defensive about that. Like, why are you asking me to be a friend? Like, I don't know who you are. I've even seen people like put a post up like, why are there so many people friend requesting me that I don't even know? And then you get they're having all their friends be like, I know, it's all those MLMs. And it's like getting a bad rap. So you can't really go do that anymore. But when you go into these larger groups, that have something in common with your life, it gives you a chance to ask a question. You get a ton of people wanting to give you advice, and then you can be picky and choosy on who you want to have combos with. And then when I friend request them, most of the time they accept because we've had back and forth already, if that makes any sense. So that is helping me kind of grow my network when I'm not running a freemium. If that resonates with anyone. Okay.
One thing I want to hit on, Tracy, real quick, because I know that we're already towards the end of this half hour, and this is something that, Lauren, you'll hear for the second time, and Jennifer as well too, but on our Team Cup team, we're like, okay, we've got 1 week left, right, until the end of the month, and we're trying to run towards some goals, and we're getting there, and we're talking about like inviting, and I think sometimes what happens, especially in a group like this or like a new coach launchpad, is that, and all the training that you talked about, Tracy, is that there's so much training out there that you could literally spend all day training, all day and all night. There's like endless information out there. And then what happens sometimes is you just continue to try to get all this information, but there's no action, right? Is that you're like, want to get the best script possible, or you want to watch 100 YouTube videos from all the top coaches. And what you'll find is that if you watch 100 videos on the same topic from 100 different people, you're going to get 100 different ways to do things, right? So that's the beauty of our business, is that you can really make it your own, but it's also difficult when you're trying to perfect something before you actually put it into action. And for someone like me, like I want to know everything before I go do something. And that's unfortunately not how this works. And there's an element of, we call it like paralysis by analysis, is that you are spending all this time analyzing everything before you actually give it a shot, right? And so as I'm talking to, my team personally about inviting, it's really less about like what you're saying, like actually what the script says, and are you even saying anything, right? And so I think it's important. This is why the BAT, or the Success Club tracker that Beachbody just put out, that a lot of you showed, that is like a true, like, look in the mirror, like, what did you do this week? And as Tracy said, like, this is loosey-goosey, this group. Tracy's not your boss. I'm not your boss. You don't owe us anything. Whether you use that tracker or not really doesn't matter to us. But it is, again, our obligation as guides and kind of shepherds for you on this journey to help make sure that your expectations are in line with what you're willing to do to get them, right? And so what I would say is that if you're not where you want to be and you're like, yeah, I'm having trouble inviting, before we spend time trying to like treat the wrong symptom or the wrong problem, like we want to understand what the root cause is. If you bring that tracker to Tracy or me and say, look, I literally invited 50 people last week and no one even responded to me. Well, there probably is something going on with maybe how you're saying it or what you're saying. But oftentimes it's like the tracker is blank and that's the issue, right? And so this is not to make anyone feel bad. It's our job to help get you better to the extent that you want to get better. And so what I would just say is, as you're thinking about inviting, I think it's really important to diagnose what's really going on so that we can help treat that. Does that make sense to all of you?
Yeah.
So I don't know, that was something that for me, it was like when I really peeled back, I'm like, oh, I just asked 5 people.
Yeah.
Like that was my issue, you know? I need to double that.
Like to piggyback off what you just said too, like you could also have a couple great weeks of invites. Like, wow, I invited 100 people this week. Wow, I invited 55 people this week. Whatever great looks like for you. And sometimes, a lot of times, it takes a while, like the whole Darren Hardy like flywheel, it takes a while to get the momentum going. So I know like for me, hitting Success Club like 26 or whatever I had in January, I promise you that wasn't from December, because December was like, I was literally pulling my eyeballs out. It was from November. Because November, I worked my tail off inviting people that either ghosted me, said no, wait till after the holidays, and boom, they all hit in January. And guess what? I'm having a tougher time in February. Do you know why? Because February is usually a result from December. For me, I've noticed that my cycle is about 8 weeks. So if I invite hard for the month of February, that's going to pay off at spring break in April. So it's also not like do this and you get this immediately. There is no like quick cause and effect. It is completely the consistency of doing it every single day that starts to build the momentum. And the coaches that are at Success Club 50, 70, even 100, those are the ones that sit down every single day and invite like mad people. And invite sometimes I think gets a bad word. It's not like they're bugging people. They're just in so many conversations with people that they're natural conversations. And not one of us would be on this call if someone invited us in a way that was gross, right? So if all of us are on this call, that means someone invited you in a good way. And that somebody is probably influencing this team and the training that we give. So we're probably duplicating a non-gross invite. So you got to get that out of your head. My Tracy T accidentally invited one of my brother's really good friends. My brother got married a year ago. I met like 40 girls from San Diego on this boat at the wedding. And it was like after a couple champagnes, I start friend requesting them all. Every girl that I met, I'm like, I'm going to expand my network with all my little brother's friends. Now I don't really remember. The wedding was a year ago. So I'm seeing like all these invites go out to like my brother's friends, which my brother would be so pissed if he knew about it. And I was starting to be like, oh my gosh, she's going to get mad. And I was like, wait a minute. You know what? This has provided me an amazing opportunity in my life. I love what I do. I love this community of people. Why wouldn't I want to invite all of my brother's friends? Like I started to get weird in my head about it. And sometimes even we have to jump back and be like, what we do is awesome. And these girls might not be ready because they're 10 years younger than me, but maybe in a couple of years when they start to get closer to the phase of life that I'm in, they will be ready because I've been planting all of these seeds. So if you said yes to this opportunity, it's because it was scratching an itch for you. And when you start to feel bad about inviting, you really have to back up for a second and be like, wait a minute, I'm doing this. Why wouldn't I want to share this with other people? And when you shift that mindset a little bit, it really does free you in the opportunity of being proud and like feeling bad if you're not inviting somebody. Like I feel bad for people that can't be on this call tonight because it's amazing in this group right now. You know, like why wouldn't I want to be inclusive? So when I think that way, it really helps me. A lot of it is mindset. And like Shaun T was saying at the end of Transform 20 today, he's like, the problem is we all get in our own way. Every single time that we get all held up or banged up or held back, it's because our mindset is not right. which is why, you know, we could then spend some time talking about PD, but we'll save that for another day. So to wrap up, we're going to be asking for invites. I think most of us have either freemiums or challenge groups in the next 7, 10, or 14 days. So we're just going to be asking you guys to type in what your invite is. What's your quick invite? Your 2 to 3 sentence invite that you're either sending people and tweaking personalization wise or verbally inviting people. And does everyone know to leave a message like, hey, I wanted to reach out to you and talk to you about my challenge group, and do the invite? And then do you know that you can duplicate that? Like you know how to push that button where you can forward that message so you're not having to say it over and over again?
You know, I've never caught on to that, Tracy. So if that's something you could, I know. So if that's something you could repost in this group, that'd be great, or tag.
There, you know what? There's a video that I made for Faithfully Fit Academy, so it's on my YouTube channel somewhere. Okay. So I'll find it. I'll find it and post it. It's a game changer.
I know. I just haven't.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's where I learned. It was in Faithfully Fit Academy. I was watching that video.
Good girl. So good.
On text. Is this for texting?
This is for Facebook Messenger.
Facebook.
Oh, for Facebook Messenger. Yes. Okay.
I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, you'll learn. No, I'm kidding. I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I'll find the video. But like, honestly, if you go to Facebook Messenger and you're there, you can only do it from your phone. That's the thing. So you can, Jennifer, practice on me. Leave me when we hang up, leave me, anyone who wants to know how to do it. This will be faster than me digging up the video on YouTube, okay?
So I've done it for one. I haven't done it to multiple people.
Oh, yeah. I'll walk you through it. Leave me a voice message on Facebook Messenger, and then I will leave you a Facebook message back telling you how to do it. Because I have to be in front of it in order to see it.
Okay.
And that'll be quick. Pam, you too.
Yeah, I don't even know how to leave one voice message.
Oh. You have so much fun things ahead of you to learn. All right, I'll box you.
I'm not there yet in Faithfully Fit Academy.
It's all right. You'll get there.
Pam, I love the wallpaper.
Don't you? It's my mom's Florida from 1985.
So you need to take a selfie with that wallpaper behind you and then tell a story about it. Add it to your social media. That is good. That is a good backdrop, girl.
It is.
It's good.
There's a massive bedspread, dust ruffle, everything.
You got to take a picture of the whole room. That's golden right there. All right. Does anybody have any questions? Anything before we go? No? Okay. All right, you guys. 9:08. We started 5 minutes late, so we're only 3 minutes over. We'll see you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next time.
Thank you.
One more call. See you later.